Hey, good morning. This is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life, coming to you on Sunday, October 20th, 2024. As I mentioned before, I'm trying to get ahead on these. I anticipate that the roofers are going to be here to give me a new roof, and I won't have anywhere to go unless I went into my car and took my tablet and recorded these somewhere else. But this is a good time, 12 o'clock. There's not much traffic on the road. There's not much interruption here at the corporate headquarters, my porch. So I want to get that out of the way, and luckily we don't have any rain forecast for the next 8 days. So that's a very good thing. And it was beautiful. I got out here. I had to go to a doctor's appointment very early and have my blood tested. I take a blood thinner and I have to get tested every month. And it was fine. It was perfect, within the normal range. But when I came out here in the morning, let the cat out to play on the porch, what a beautiful full moon. It was beautiful, so bright. It was almost like the sun. So I just sat here for a few minutes enjoying it, and that's how I got my day started off. So this is a daily word from men, and it says, the biblical quote, "I will tell everyone about your righteousness. All day long I will proclaim your saving power, though I am not skilled with words." And that is from Psalm 71:15. Very rarely do we find a person skilled at something they did not practice. Few are naturally skilled, and for those who are, likely they had some early developmental advantages that benefited them, or perhaps even some inherited traits from their parents. No one can boast in himself, because even the practiced expert probably received his determination and focus from his parents. Time and time again, we see winners, experts in their fields, honor their parents. Sometimes it's because of the way they were raised, and other times because of inherited traits. But they honor their parents because they know their skills were not just earned by themselves. There's also many who honor God. Ultimately, the abilities and proficiencies we develop come from Him. Eventually, we come to recognize that we are made in His image and for His praise. And the question is, when someone praises you, what or who do you usually attribute praise to? Well, the first thing I got to say is I'm very uncomfortable with getting praised. Even though I may have worked for something like in my competitive swimming days and in academics, it was always something that I liked doing. I mean, I loved doing it. I loved swimming. I loved being in the water. I loved competing. I could swim all day, practice all day. So for me, it was. It's hard to explain it. It was just something I was internally motivated to do. And I started at such a young age. I became a competitive swimmer at 5. And probably motivated by my parents, because my older brother drowned. And I remember my dad took me to like water safety courses for little kids. Eventually I ended up teaching them. I used to call them Tiny Tots classes. And the kids would learn how to swim, float, survival float. in case they ever had an accident where they were in a pool. But that was, when you love something that you do and you want to do it, it just seems like a natural progression for you. And so even in the spark that got me going in academics was my parents. My father had to drop out of school at sixth grade. And my mom went through high school, but she wanted to go to college and she couldn't. And she did go back and get a bachelor and master's after her 10 kids were grown. And they always encouraged me to read, and I loved it. It opened up worlds to me that I couldn't see in the poor neighborhood that I lived. Stories, mysteries for young kids. That's what I really like, mystery stories. And I like the Arabian Tales and things like that. So I really took to it, and sitting with my dad, he was the impetus for me to learn, because he'd have to look up words that he didn't know. He read Louis L'Amour westerns, and he'd say, all right, well, you try looking it up. And somehow everything clicked in my mind, because I was doing something I wanted to do, and I was doing it with my dad, and a bond grew in all his life. Right up to the end of my father's life, he was reading books I gave him. He loved Stephen King. I bought him almost every Stephen King book up to my father's death. In fact, when I brought him to the hospital for the final time, he was going to have surgery and became septic. He handed me a bag, and the book was for Christmas, Bag of Bones by Stephen King. He said I couldn't resist the temptation. I was just like a little kid. I had to read it. He said, thank you. It was such a great story. And I am so glad that he got to read that before he died, because he just liked it. So I in my mind, and this is just how I think, in the back of all of this is God. He created everything. He started everything. We exist by His grace. He sustains the universe, so He's worthy of all praise. But I would keep it to a more earthly level. My parents, my coaches, my teachers, my friends, even my opponents when I was swimming helped me. It wasn't a cutthroat. Well, there was no money involved, so it wasn't cutthroat like it is today, where you wouldn't give your opponent the time of day. We knew each other. Some of them I knew their whole families, and I knew their brothers and sisters, and so that's kind of how I approached it. But always feeling very uncomfortable, and I don't understand that. Maybe it's an inferiority complex. When people tell me I've done well, and even like in AA, I have more than 33 and a half years of sobriety. When someone says, "Oh, great job," I depend so much on my fellow members that I don't really think it's me doing it. It's them helping me, and I feel uncomfortable about that. But I am in everything. I feel uncomfortable with praise. So that's my 2 cents in the matter. I'd like to show you the nice blue sky here. Hold on. You don't want to see my ugly mug.